Hi, my name's Maria Van Vuklis from the Think Tank podcast. Welcome to another episode. I've got the lovely Chantal Gerardy with me. A little bit about Chantal first. Chantal is the owner and founder of Chantal Gerardy Facebook Strategist, and she's also the award-winning Facebook strategist. Chantal empowers business owners with the skills and strategies to grow their business using Facebook. Chantal went from a broke business owner in a new country with 3 kids under the age of 5 years old to now an abundance in business using Facebook. Facebook saved her business. She now empowers business owners who have no marketing budget to create an income and produce strategies using Facebook. We'll be talking about how to get fast and free results with Facebook. Welcome to the show, Chantal.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Tell us a little bit more about yourself if I haven't already covered it.
Oh yeah, 100%. So firstly, I'll explain my mixed accent. So I'm originally from South Africa and I moved to Australia, the Gold Coast, 12 years next month it'll be. 12 years ago. And when I did, my husband at the time got a job transfer. So I was going to stay at home and look after the children like a good wife. And I had, at that stage, there were twin 4-year-olds and a 1-year-old.
Wow.
But in the first couple of years of us being here, he was made redundant twice. And there was always that risk of us being sent back to South Africa. So I did what any mother would do, and I got onto Facebook and started to play around. And what I ended up doing was growing a successful business on the Gold Coast with absolutely no marketing budget and not knowing anyone. Whilst my children were sleeping or playing in the playground, I was tinkering on Facebook and made it happen. And after a couple of years of having run that business, I then transitioned into being able to help more people just like myself who potentially don't have a marketing budget and don't have the skills to be able to use this new overwhelming thing called social media by just teaching them how to do it themselves successfully.
Beautiful. And I think so many people can potentially relate to your situation because now people are looking at new ways to create income and not have to spend a whole lot of money. So tell me, why is Facebook a big component of any marketing strategy? And does this apply to both service-based businesses and product-based businesses, or just one or the other?
Yeah, great question. The free capabilities of Facebook specifically really excels with the coaching side of the spectrum. Of course, it works for product-based as well, but with products and large e-commerce stores, you really do have to go and explore Facebook advertising. However, when we're talking about selling yourself, if you're the business owner in your business, it's about personal branding and it's about getting yourself out there and building relationships with people online so that they choose you and choose what you're offering over and above someone else. Now, in the olden days, which was about 5 years ago, you know, there was still this looming thing around, is Facebook going to still be here, or is this just, you know, a temporary little thing that's coming? So a lot of people went, oh, I'm not sure if I really want to learn how, you know, I don't really want to do it. But I think that when COVID came, a lot of people realized that Facebook is here to stay. And in fact, they've gone from 2.6 billion users to now 3.2 billion users during COVID. So they're definitely not going anywhere. And I think people have realized now that they really do need to learn how to do this because this is the new way of doing business.
Beautiful. And is there, so when we say service-based businesses, a lot of people are thinking, well, I have to be able to brand the business and not themselves. But when it comes to, do you think organic marketing, the focus is on the person behind the business and not the business itself?
Great question. So at the end of the day, it's social media, which is really good because it's social and it's very easy for us to be social. A lot of people can lose that because when they do go onto social media, they start to try and talk like marketers, but that's when there's disconnect. I always believe that it's up to the business owner how public or private they want to be within their actual business. However, most people choose a business based on the person that they're actually going to be working with. So if you are the coach, if you are the front person within your business, it is important for you to communicate your story, your backstory, why you do what you do, who you like to work with, because people are going to connect with you and build that relationship, and they're going to choose you over somebody else based on that. If you choose to have a more private profile, it really is a case of you understanding your privacy settings on Facebook. For example, I work with a lot of lawyers and psychologists, and you can have a private public profile. You just need to understand your privacy settings and know how to use them properly, which is something, of course, I teach.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, what are some common misconceptions of organic results with Facebook?
Well, a lot of people think that it just doesn't work. So they go, I spend all my time on Facebook. I'm posting, 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 and everybody says give everything away for free, and I'm giving it all away for free, and I'm just not getting any clients. And this is one of the reasons why I changed my name a couple of years back from Facebook coach to Facebook strategist, because I realized I can coach you how to use the platform. But really, if you don't have a strategy, a personalized, unique strategy for yourself and your business and your customer, it's not going to work. So when people say go and give it away for free, well, at the end of the day, we're here to make money as well. So if we have a strategy and it's an income producing strategy, we have to know how to do that sensibly with the end in mind, which means getting a sale, getting business, getting a client. So some of the misconceptions is I spend all my time on there, or I have to spend all my time on there, which you don't. Because if you have a strategy and you know what to do every day and you wake up knowing what to do, you just need to do that thing. I'm actually quite hyperactive. I don't like being in front of the computer. I'm out and about running my dogs, and I go to the gym and, camping and water skiing and doing all those things. I really don't like being in front of the computer. But I have a strategy and it makes me money. And that's the strategy that I help business owners come up with for themselves, so that they don't have to spend their lives on Facebook. They just simply have to do what they need to do to get a result. And the good news is it's not everything. Because another misconception is you've got to have a public group, and you must have a private group, and you've got to have 10 pages, and you've got to have, a webinar and a challenge and a competition. You've got to have all these things. You don't. You only have to have what's relevant to you and your customer and your business. And that one strategy is the only thing that you need.
So bringing that back to business is knowing who you're talking to and what they want and where they hang out in order to connect with them on the Facebook platform. Is that right?
Yeah, it's all about meaningful relationships. So, in the olden days, you'd go to networking groups, you'd pick up the phone, you'd have conversations. It's exactly the same, but we need to have them online. And sometimes people lose it and they become spammy, or they don't understand the etiquette around it. And that's where they lose it. And one of the other things they don't do is they don't ask. So one of my things, my mantras that people always hear me saying is simply ask. Like ask, would you like to have a chat about this? Or ask, are you interested in finding out more? Some people fear that they're going to be too salesy if they simply ask. But the thing is that you're not selling if you're serving. And if someone's genuinely interested in what it is that you're offering, you have to make it perfectly clear how you want them to take action. Like, what is the next step for them to take if they want to find out more?
Yeah, beautiful. And I think from a sales perspective, that's the one thing that people are afraid or have limiting beliefs around is, asking permission for them to be able to help them to get the close. But at the end of the day, business is business, right?
Yes, a lot of people will say to me, "Oh, you're so out there, and you're selling yourself." And I'm going, "No, I'm effectively communicating who I help, how I can help them, and I'm offering them an opportunity to work with me."
Yeah.
And guess what? It's working, because I'm getting people calling me, and I'm getting people engaging my services, and I'm getting them, off Facebook and turning them into clients. And they're getting great results, and it's working, and they're becoming raving fans and cheerleaders. So it does work.
Yeah, and building those relationships do take time. They're not. I think I'd love to hear your feedback in terms of it doesn't take overnight for someone to know, like, and trust you. So being able to consistently do that, you can do that on Facebook, right?
Yeah, so it's all about touching them. So I always talk about touching them in multiple places. So it's considering, what their pain points are. It's you having to show your expertise, social proof. So what other people are saying about you. So it's not just, you talking about you, but people actually seeing other people's testimonials, also sharing success stories. These are things that people need to see on a continual basis, including your point of difference and how you differentiate from everyone else that's out there. And when people are touched with all that content, that is how you get a yes from them, because you tick all of their boxes. One of the other ones is showing statistics, because some people are analytically minded, so they want to see statistics around the results that you get, or the results that they can get in order to get a yes.
Okay, well, that leads me into my next question. So, what are your top 3 ways in getting fast results with Facebook, if you haven't already mentioned it? And does this change with the Facebook algorithms? Because I know that the algorithm does change quite regularly.
Yeah, look, the algorithm changes, but I always say to people, with regards to the algorithm is a prediction. So when you are on Facebook and you're putting in your details and who you're interested in, and you're showing interest in them, Facebook's algorithm will naturally match you, kind of like a dating app, will naturally match you to anyone else who's interested in the same thing. And this is why it's important for you to go on consistently and not only do what you need to do, but show interest in your ideal clients as well, because then the Facebook algorithm will match it. And yes, it changes all the time, but when you understand that that's how it works and you continue to do what you do, you're going to get a good result regardless, because you're doing the right thing. You just need to be consistent. Now, the best way to get fast results, and I'm going to give you 4 because the acronym FAST. So the F stands for fundamentals, and there are 8 fundamentals, and they are on my website. But it's about knowing who you are, who your ideal client is. It's about having a strategy and getting people off Facebook. It's about reviewing what you're doing, responding to people when they communicate with you online, and it's about having a professional online presence. The A stands for algorithm, and we've discussed that already around how it's a prediction. And if you do the right thing and show interest in, again, it's like dating. If you show interest in the other person, well, they're more likely to engage and respond with you, and that's how the algorithm works. The S stands for a strategy, and this is where a lot of people fall short because they don't have a strategy. So they go, here is my business. I'm going to go onto Facebook, and I'm just going to spit all over Facebook or any social media, and I'm just going to hope something works. I'm going to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, or I saw somebody doing that, so I'm going to do that. And I saw someone doing that, and I'm going to do that. And I always relate it to, personal training, where if you just do everything every day, you're going to get there or not get there a lot slower. However, if you have a plan and you work with a trainer, and you just follow that plan, it takes time, and you may not see results straight away, but you're definitely going to get there quicker. And that's how a strategy should work, is that you have an action plan, you have intention with everything that you do. And it's not about doing everything, it's just doing what you need to do, but you have the end in mind. So when you go to post on Facebook, or you go to engage in a group, or you go to run a webinar, or to hold an event, what is your intention? And your intention is not to be more visible. That's a small intention, but the intention at the end is, I'm going to be more visible, but why? I'm going to be more visible so I can get more trust, so I can get more clients. And you have to fully follow through right to the very end of how is that going to change and become money. And that's where people fall short. They just go brand awareness, visibility. And for me, I'm not about making more friends. I'm about actually making funds using Facebook. We have enough friends. It's about how we're actually going to convert that into money and a sustainable, scalable business. Now, the T stands for tactful. Doing things tactfully, following the right etiquette, and saving yourself time on Facebook by doing that. And that's how you get fast results on Facebook.
Beautiful, beautiful. So much value there, and so easy step-by-step process that you've just mentioned that. So I'm sure many people would get a lot of value out of that. So can you give us an example of a business you worked with or you're working with in getting results in their business, and how you got them free, fast results with Facebook?
Yeah, sure. I might give you an example of a property coach that I'm working with at the moment. So he recently engaged the services of a marketing company. They charged him $10,000 to do an ads campaign with a lead funnel to get people to show up at an event of which he was then going to present at the event and then sign them up into his property coaching program. However, when he did that, all the wrong people showed up to the event. They all showed up there thinking that he was just going to magically give them a house and it wasn't going to cost them anything. So really there was inconsistency in the messaging or the way that they got those people there. So that $10,000 was in essence didn't really work. So when he contacted me and he said, well, can you work with me? And I said, well, I'm going to show you how to get free results. He was like, what? In fact, he was actually not very trusting. I must have had about 6 phone calls with him before he signed up. But he jumped all in and bought my program. And we've been working one-on-one to be able to raise his personal branding, communicate through his page who he is and who he helps and what he can do. But because he's charging $5,000, like you've got to pay $5,000 to work with him to be able to then save up in a year's time and get a deposit for your mortgage. Like people have to see the value in that because really they don't have money for a mortgage, but they've got to invest $5,000. So we had to build his online trust, his credibility, show his social proof, his expertise, share some success stories, and get them then into a webinar. Well, we haven't even started getting him into the webinar. We're still busy creating the webinar and starting to point people towards the webinar. But after 5 weeks of just following the strategy and getting him to communicate that on his page and then put it in front of relevant people on Facebook organically by building relationships, he signed up 5 people at $5,000 and he's on his 5th week of our program, and it's a 20-week program. So, you know, that's $25,000 he's already made. He's already working with those people. We're now repurposing some of that content and success stories to go and find more people like that. We haven't even run the webinar yet, which is amazing. So, so definitely I mean, that's a perfect example. And his Facebook page was completely dead. Up until that point, there was very few people on there and he didn't have a page growth strategy. So now we have a page growth strategy, because one thing is like posting, you know, relevant content on your page, but you've also got to get more people onto that page and more of the right people on there. And then you've got to get them to pick up the phone, have a call and give you their money. So, you know, that's an example of how I work with David.
Love it. Excellent. So what resources can you provide the listeners so they can implement some of the concepts and ideas that you've actually just spoken about?
Yeah, excellent. What I'll do is I've got a checklist on the fundamentals of Facebook, and literally, and every time I do a podcast or even work one-on-one with a client, I go through these 8 fundamentals because people need to do these 8 fundamentals. They are the foundational stages of Facebook, and most of it doesn't even include Facebook. But if you don't get these 8 things right, you shouldn't even go onto Facebook because it's simply not going to work. So I have a checklist, a summed up version of what those 8 things are, and I'd be happy to share that resource with you.
Beautiful. And how can anyone connect with you if they're wanting to know more about what you do?
Yeah, awesome. They can jump onto my website, which is www.chantalgerardy.com.au. So you're going to have to check the spelling. But we've got heaps of free resources on the website. And in fact, when things change, like for example, old look Facebook to new look Facebook, we've just done a webinar and a training video as well. So I do encourage you to subscribe. There's a big red button on there. Subscribe and we'll send you that training as it happens and updates as Facebook changes. But there is also a place where you can download the new 2021 content calendar, as well as we've got an ebook up there, and you can even book a one-on-one call with me to find out how I can help you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Chantal. It's been so lovely chatting to you, and I trust everyone has gotten so much value out of what you've just shared.
Excellent. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for tuning in. My name's Maria Van Vuklis from the Think Tank podcast. Till next time, bye for now.